Hello, my name is Kay McDonald, and I'm here today with the Power of Charms podcast, and I'm really excited to introduce my guest, Andrea Tyler Evans. She's the publisher of Frontdoors Magazine, and we've gotten into lots of trouble together doing projects and having fun. I want to start with a little bit of background about Andrea. We met really when you kind of bought the magazine, right, Andrea? I mean, we'd met before, but we really got to know each other a little bit better when you bought the magazine.
Yeah, I went up to you at the Science Center at the Two Pups Spencer and reintroduced myself to you.
I'm like, you're the new publisher. Oh, yeah. So that's just been so fun to get to know you. And then we have worked on several projects together. You do this really wonderful event called the Society of Chairs, which this year has been postponed just because of COVID, because every event is postponed.
Correct.
So we did a custom bracelet for you that we gave out to all the guests, and that was super fun. And then our most recent project that we're still working on and having lots of fun is our Key to Strength, which this is our current project right now. And it is, we're raising money for the Sojourner Center for Domestic Violence Month. And we have the charity charms, the Frontdoors charm, the charity charm, the key, the Sojourner Center, and the little heart from Charity Charm. So it's a whole collaborative event that we're working on to get the word out, spread awareness for domestic violence. And I think it's really neat because you and I are both able to use our business platforms to make a difference, which is something that I know is near and dear to your heart, not only as the publisher of Frontdoors Magazine, but the whole history of your life. Can you give us a rundown? Because you keep saying to me, oh, I worked for them. Oh, I did this, I did that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have worked for almost every charity in the city. Give us a rundown of your background.
Well, I'm a native Californian and came here to go to Arizona State. So forks up. And I, after I graduated, I was in touch with my sorority sisters when I was on my job hunt, and volunteered for one that was working at a nonprofit, and that was the American Heart Association. And she was having like a restaurant tasting event, and I was waitressing. I was waitressing while I figured out, what I was going to do with this fresh college degree that I worked so hard to obtain. And after it was over, it was super fun, it's successful. I had helped with the raffle and met her boss, and her boss kind of said, oh, what do you do? And I said, oh, well, I'm waitressing while I, look for on a job search. She said, get in our office. And so my first job was at the American Heart Association, which did tie to my degree, but it also tied to my passion. And I have always been a serial volunteer. I've been a little kid at church. I always volunteered in activities. During high school, I worked on the Rose Bowl parade floats in the warehouses near Pasadena. And at ASU, I was in a sorority as well as student government. And, that was my fun, was to be involved. And so there I went to be an assistant in the development department. And I was the assistant to the Heart Ball, the amazing committee of 100 women who are, the preeminent fundraisers and advocates for heart disease and stroke and Go Red for Women now. And so that is where I got my start, was at the American Heart Association. And with, it was I've been told it was my finishing school. Instead of getting a master's back at college, I got a master's in philanthropy in this community.
Well, and what an amazing organization to just pounce in and get your feet wet with and learn the ins and outs. I mean, that's like the most masterful organization. They know what they're doing. And I'm sure you learned so much. And, I wanted to bring something up that I think is kind of cute. I was talking to Deborah Bateman last week, and she said when people are trying to figure out their purpose and their why, it's usually something that they just loved when they were a kid. Right. And if you go back and look at what you loved when you were a kid that just was fun, you just said it. You just loved volunteering and giving back. And so that's become, your life's purpose and what you do. So it's great. It's evolving.
Yeah, absolutely. I did it in those terms, but it is true. A lot of people's pivots in their careers do tie to something that they thought they just had a phase, and that like their childhood or when they were in school, and they said, no, I need to move on, I need to be more serious, I need to do this or whatever. And then they go, no, that I was drawn to that for a reason. And life is short, be happy with what you do.
It's
And
it's important to
it
love
was
what
just
you
a
do.
natural for me, because philanthropy and volunteerism allows, it's endless, right?
Mhm.
The opportunities, the areas that you can work in, um, it's endless, and they need you. They
Yes,
need
and
your
they're so
money, they need your
so
time, they need your,
appreciative of everything that you do too. That's the other thing. I think it's very gratifying.
and it's become an industry. It was not considered that when we were young. It was not a sector. There was not a college degree, and now is all of those things. And here in the Valley, of course, it's very, very vibrant
We
industry.
do in Phoenix. We have a very vibrant and engaged philanthropic community. And so let's talk a little bit about Frontdoors Magazine. You bought it from Julia Patrick how many years ago?
So we're 3.5 years
Three and a
from.
half years. And before that, you worked with your husband, is that correct, in a marketing firm or?
First, I started, so after the Heart Association, I worked at the Phoenix Symphony,
Okay,
and
another
so
charity.
worked in arts community, which was just another. How I got there was, a little bit of an interesting story. It was through friends from the certainly, and after that, I went through Valley Leadership, amazing transformative leadership program that we have here, and it was sitting in with my leadership class that I figured out that after working for the two juggernaut organizations for healthcare and the arts,
Mhm.
that there were a lot of smaller organizations that could not have a full-time staff person with my skill set, but that they always, I was always being invited to lunch and coffee, to have pick your brain about how does the harp ball do it? How does the symphony do these, huge grand galas and all the other things that tie to them to be successful? And I said, I could do this and do it as my business. And I kind of had it in me that I wanted to work for myself someday. My parents both had jobs where they had to punch the clock and answer to people. And I just thought there's got to be a better way. And so I was young and really, I could risk. I did not have children yet, and I thought now's the time. I'll throw this out there. And I did one email to my 49 classmates, and I had 3 jobs in return. And all of a sudden I was a consultant. So
Wow, that's
I did
fantastic.
that for 10 years on my own. And then for another 5 years that joined and my specialty was event planning, consulting, and fundraising.
Hmm.
And my husband had a public relations freelance shop, and I was working on his clients that needed event, help, and my clients needed public relations help. And so we combined and built Evans Communications. So we did that for 5 years, and that's how I met Julia Patrick. We were, having our clients were part of Front Doors,
Uh-huh.
and she was ready to move on, and we had a big old meeting and decided that it was, for me, it was the perfect next step
Perfect
in
next
my
step, like the best
career.
evolution ever. Taking everything that you've been doing already and taking it almost to the next level so you could roll all that expertise in and probably learn a lot of new things too. What have you learned since you took over a magazine and had your own business?
Oh my goodness, a lot. Because again, I was coming at it kind of from this consulting side. I've been coaching, people on their success as a nonprofit or a company. Had a pretty wide range of clients by the time that I was moving on. And what I needed to learn was the the publishing side of things, that I am not a writer naturally. I do write a column and write a lot of our event coverage. But what made the acquisition work is that I had an amazing initial partner that was our editor, who worked with my husband and I, and our graphic design team at our firm also wanted to take on the project. So they really taught me along the way, that first year, of how the writing process works and how to organize the editorial calendar and the design process. And so I've learned a lot about that, and now I've got it down, and I don't break any of their rules anymore. I used to push a lot of deadlines because I was like, hold on, wait, I'm not done yet.
One thing, right?
Yeah, and no, now I keep in line with my amazing team, and I've also learned that we do things differently, because I do kind of come from this as a little bit with the coaching
Mm-hmm.
kind of attitude with the charities, because we cover the large nonprofits, of course, and they're very savvy, and they have either staffers that do marketing and public relations, and purchase ads to get to the donor audience. And then we have tiny nonprofits that don't have any help, and we have everything in between. And so every time we start a new relationship with somebody, I go through with them how this works, how it works on our editorial side, and how it works if there's something that you want to advertise, and how we can help them build a successful campaign. If you're asking for something that is tied to tickets, donations, anything with a financial,
sure,
that the editorial is there for the story and to share the heart of what's going on with the organization or innovation. News, it's news. But anything that is financial, really, we have affordable advertising products to get that placement and get the word out of what they're doing, and
sure,
help them grow their awareness in their database.
Well, I would imagine that when the charities work with Andrea Evans, that they get a little bit more than just coverage because of your background and your giving heart. I'm sure it's like you just can't stand it. You have to give them great advice, even right, on all kinds of topics. So it's kind of like a value add just to work with you, I would think.
Well, I'm a relationship person. That's the way I ran, that's what I learned when I worked for these amazing people and boards and volunteers when I was, very young. And they taught me how to be a relationship person. The Valley is a very large place, but it acts like a small town, especially when it comes to people giving and sponsoring and deciding that they want to be affiliated with a cause. And I wear that on my sleeve. I represent an amazing team that I'm so proud of. And I get to, go out and have the conversations, or now the Zoom, and then, report back and share with my team, what I learned, and run it by them. And so nothing's a transaction at Frontdoors. It is a relationship.
I love that.
And that's what we have to offer. And, we cover over 400 nonprofits every year.
That's a lot.
And again, and this is the Valley, so it's Valley wide.
Right.
But when you look at our calendar and events, it's, the calendar is the largest amount of organizations we're able to touch. But the events tie many times to somebody's first story,
right,
either in our newsletter or in the magazine. And we built a company that had an amazing foundation and expanded it to be able to be inclusive of all. And we drilled down, and we did it by numbers. We track everything. And so that we can continue to say that and continue to have placements. So we know how many stories we do every week. We know how many stories we do every month in the magazine. We know how many social media posts we do, and we will expand if we need to, beyond. We've got 400 figured out, but if that grows.
Well, it's good to be able to articulate the impact that you have and that you make when you're working with people, right? So I think it's great that you monitor all that, because the data and the details, that's what people want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds too like you really do have a good team. And I wanted to mention, you balance so much. I consider you the Energizer Bunny. I'm like, Andrea, you're a mom, you're a business owner, you're a cancer survivor. You recently won an Athena Award. I mean, I look at you and go, how does she do it all? Like, do you have a secret or a method to make things run smoothly? And maybe it's an act, Andrea, but it's a good one.
It is a balancing act. So let's be very straightforward about that. And I do make mistakes. I do every once in a while, and I beat myself up worse than anybody else that could, be disappointed if I miss something. But here's the deal. I am a little bit crazy also. A lot of it is in my head and just
creative genius.
The way I operate. Yeah, I collect a lot in my head. I'm a messy office person. I'm a piler. So nobody think that there's this clean desk under this screen. No. I like to see everything. I like it all to be out. I do have my moments where I do a great, clean out of things, of course. And moving into a new office has been part of that recently. But it's 1 week at a time. A few things. We've gotten very good at long range planning, and that took 3 years of me doing this with my team. That every year we've gotten better at planning out what we think a year is going to look like. Of course, this year
was
right. But we had a plan that we could change. We were not inventing. Sure. So that was very helpful. And then there's the month. And then every week there's the week. And then for me, every day it's the day. And before I go to bed every night, I look at my calendar and say, okay, one more time, what do I have tomorrow? And I can sleep better going, okay, I know it's all there. And I gave it a few minutes of thought of when I wake up in the morning, where what I'm going to tackle first, to not miss any deadlines with my team,
right?
Because it's their deadlines. I kind of answer to them, to be honest, so that they can do a great job.
Kind of oversee, that they're going to handle the details, right? But you oversee it.
Yeah.
Are you like a Google Calendar? Do you put everything on your Google Calendar, or are you more of a write it out kind of person?
iPhone calendar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
everything's on the iPhone. And it took me a long time to go from, I was a paper girl. Yep. Oh my gosh. I had my little book, that I bought every year at Office Max,
right, and took it everywhere
I went. And my husband, who's Mr. Apple product, was just, will you please switch over to the calendar? And I finally did. When we merged our businesses together, he won the battle.
He forced you to come into the Apple world, huh?
Into the Apple world. And I kind of went kicking and screaming, but I got it down now. And
it I set the alerts. Life easier, doesn't it?
It does. And I set the alerts too, because especially right now in this digital, Zoom world, I'll get going on a project or a proposal. And if my phone doesn't ding at me, if I haven't set that alert, it'll be 1:15. I go, oh my gosh, I was supposed to call somebody at 1 o'clock. And so that's been my latest thing, is to set the alert on every single appointment, so that I don't, get so deep into a project on my laptop that I miss a call. Zooms do remind you, but just, those little appointments that you're just going to touch base with somebody, or go pick up a child,
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm glad that you have that much control and a system, because this year we have not had any control, have we, over what's been happening in our world? I know every business has had challenges, but I think people are able to see a rainbow sometimes as well. Are there any new opportunities or lovely gems that have come out of this really challenging time for you that you can maybe uh, change, make into a new thing that you're doing with your company and segue into 2021 with some great new thing?
I'll tell you that there have been some wins because of COVID with our business. We were, year three, starting on year three of a 5-year plan that I had set forth, and look at every summer. Summer is always my time for analytics as
Mhm.
well as analysis of, what we're doing, why we're doing it. We have a mission at Front Doors. We created a mission statement when we bought the company, and it's posted on our website and it's in our publication. And so I'm big on the summer analysis exercise. I learned that working for nonprofits, because here in the Valley, that is the only break you get in the fiscal year and goal setting and fundraising. And so I just, have always applied that to my life. There's some things even we do with the family every summer that's, if you don't take that time and do that, then you could just keep going,
Mhm.
to go and go nowhere real quick. So we go back to the mission that, Front Doors Media celebrates the people and groups that give generously to work and build the future of our community, that we're the premier source of information and inspiration for
Mhm.
those who strive to make the Valley of the Sun a better place. So we start there, and then we
Mhm.
look at, like I said, that system that we've set up monthly, weekly, daily, and we make tweaks. We're in the tweak business. And because of all that, we were able to dive in further on that exercise, because in normal times, me as a representative of the publication, this, I will go some days from a breakfast fundraiser to coffee with a CEO, you know, look at my email for an hour, go to a luncheon,
Yeah.
go check email for one more hour, go get a kid, drop them off at home, um one more hour of email or deadlines, or it is crazy. It is
Yeah.
very 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 crazy some days, and then go to a cocktail reception
Right.
and then go to a dinner.
There's no time for you, Andrea.
I know, and I do, and I do have fun, and I do love it, and everybody sees me, having a great time at all those things. But you kind of look at that, and then you look at your business and time spent towards really running your business and making it successful, and there wasn't enough time with that schedule. And so I've gotten a lot of time back
Because you're not attending all the events.
and gone through and redone my to-do list in a way that is so much more strategic on
Mhm.
our business planning and where I should be spending my time, that when we do go back to in person, I will do it completely differently. I am forever changed for sure. And there are charities that they are going to be more successful by staying with virtual event planning.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
we are forever changed, and I love it. I can hop on there for half an hour, make my donation. Did this yesterday. There were a few, and and then carry on. I miss my friends desperately. We
Yeah,
all do. We
the
miss the
actual
social
human
interaction.
interaction. Right.
And I do have a bubble and some people that I will see. You're one of them, that we've actually seen each other a couple times with our masks on in person. And there's some partners that we have at Front Doors that we've gotten to that point that we will go in a board room, and but only four of us, distance around a huge boardroom table, to really plan out some things that are coming up. And so for me, it's been really, really good. I finally have gotten to some things that have been on the to-do list for 3 years, a
Well,
couple of them
I,
that
I'm
I
I'm
just, I
so happy.
couldn't,
Yeah.
I couldn't get there. I couldn't get to really diving in to seeing if I should do something.
Well, it's so good to hear and learn about kind of the back room, functionality of you, how you make things happen in Front Doors. And I'm also really pleased to hear that there was and is a silver lining in this 2020 year of extreme challenge. So you are a continuing inspiration, Andrea, to me and everybody in our nonprofit community and businesses that are involved with charities as well. So I just thank you for the work that you do. And I thank you for your time today. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we sign off?
No, just go to frontdoorsmedia.com, see what we're up to this week. If you don't get our Thursday newsletter called The Knock, it's a quick read, always something fun in there. So I encourage you to check us out, and then you'll automatically be sent a digital version of Frontdoors Magazine, which is a beautiful cover story coming up in about 2 weeks for our annual look at the holidays in the Valley, which this year is going to be, right, we really have an opportunity to have some very meaningful holidays. Everybody has gone through a lot of tragedy and personal strife in our country. And I'm just very hopeful. I know our plans that we're making is to be a little closer than normal. And
it's going to be a good family Christmas, I think.
I think so.
A holiday season where people are a lot closer maybe than normal.
And what people are doing to give back in the Valley is incredible. It is also very intentional, very with heart, and to serve the most desperate in a lot of cases, people that really, really need help. So we are taking a focus on that area as a publication, and it'll make everybody feel, if you don't have something to do yet, you haven't thought of, if you want to be involved with giving back, we hope
just read The Knock and you'll find all kinds of opportunities. Again, it's frontdoors.com where they would go sign up for The Knock.
Frontdoorsmedia.
Frontdoorsmedia.com. So I get the publication every week. It's fabulous. And it is a quick read and a lovely layout. So if everybody, I encourage you to go check it out. And Andrea, thanks so much for your time today.